Morning. It is day 15 and it is weigh day. I will put my results in here. I didn't film it, not for any other reason other than I was running out of the door. Excuse me. Yeah. I had a meeting first thing this morning, so I had to do that. But in a nutshell, in the 2 weeks, I have dropped 17 pounds, or a stone and 3 pounds. Am I happy with that? It is what it is. I can see it, I can feel it. So in that respect, I am happy. I am still a long way to go, and I am just in this reset phase. So listen, first week you drop a load of water, it's not true weight. Okay, in my second week I have dropped some weight. Next week, because I'm going to weigh weekly from now on, because I've done a posthumous deal with the beautiful Mr. Lawrence Brown to have a competition with him. So at the moment I'm a pound down more than he was at this point in his journey. So we'll see where we end up. At the end of his 12-week journey, he had dropped about 3 stone 2. I'll check his videos, but I've got a list. Actually, his 12th week video, I can't find it anywhere, if he did it or what, but I've got his drop from that. I have now got 50 subscribers, which 50 is not like earth-shattering, but it's 50 more than I had 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't even doing this. Well, I just started doing this. So how amazing is that? And it can only grow and grow, and I hope that people are engaging with it. I had an interesting engagement with a subscriber on My Chills 123, talking about how she can't get past 600 calories without putting on weight, or like not being able to drop weight unless she does 600 calories. And it's really important that sort of I talk through why I think that's happening. So I will do that in a moment. 17 pounds. I'm not saying that's not great, because it is. I'm doing a 6-week challenge with people at the moment, and going into, by the end of the 6 weeks, I wanted, because I've asked them, what do you want to drop over the 6 weeks? And I mean, it's a question I might as well ask. If people tell you that they don't do that shit in their heads, they do. Because even I've done it. I've gone, right, what do I want out of this? I want to be 18 and a half, and by the end of the 12 weeks, 60. And there's a video coming about what's 60, because I have several associations with that. Not all good associations in this vlog. A bit later, I have to go. I've got another meeting. I have to pick my boy up today, which is unusual on a Monday, but his mum's got a late meeting, so I get to see my little monkey. He hasn't got football tonight, sadly, which is sad because I love watching him play football. But I will be doing that. But I am going to talk more about weight associations, good and bad, and how they can fucking throw you off and steer you into paths you don't want to go down. But I'll do that in a minute. I hope you stuck to your plans, whatever your plans were, on Mother's Sunday weekend, if that's what you call it. And now you are still flying with what you're doing. Talk to you in a bit. Evening, like I was saying earlier on, it is day 15, and I had my weigh in this morning, dropped 17 pounds. Good result, shows that I've been doing what I've said I've been doing, which is doing this 100%. Not jumping up and down, getting overly excited, because as we all know, in that first week, you drop a lot of water, and I was retaining a lot of water, that has to be said. So who knows what it was I actually dropped in water retention at the beginning, but over the 2 weeks, it's 17 pound, which is a stone and 3. How can I not be happy about that? I am happy about it. So absolutely thrilled with it, but not getting carried away. I've got a lot further. I've got a journey ahead of me, which still needs doing, still needs executing. Got to stay humble, keep your head, and keep moving forward. In terms of weighing, that's great. I had my barnet chopped today and trim my beard, which always makes me feel a million times better. My barber, Mike Lowe in Burnham, is not only is he great at cutting hair, we often have a lot of quite in-depth chats, really. And I can remember saying to him once, do you know you're in the well-being business? And he said, well, like back then, he said, well, actually, yeah, because, people come here and they sit and they talk and they come here to feel better. And I was like, absolutely right. It's the way, and the way he is very much a men's barbers, and it's good fun when you go in there. There's a lot of banter that goes across the chairs, but there's also a lot of, certainly when I
go in and I talk to Mike. We talk about some quite in-depth stuff, and I always feel better when I leave. So I'm going to be running a podcast for men's mental health, which is going to be called Ungag the Bag, and it's going to be talking to various different people that I know. There's my ex-football manager. I'm gonna get him on. We're gonna have a chat. There's a guy who does a fire pit talk, so guys can go and sit around a fire pit, have a beer, and have a chat, which is great. I'm gonna go and talk to him. I'm gonna go and do a podcast with Mike because absolutely just everything I just said is, that would be a really great vlog, and I'm hoping to help guys open up a bit and just talk because we don't. And I lost my good friend Lawrence because he felt he couldn't be the one to actually ask for the help, because everybody always went to him and asked him for help, and he never turned anyone down. He was the only person I've ever met who, I mean, he had like 130 clients, and he made you feel like you were the only one, and he always had time for people. And it's really sad that he felt that he couldn't then turn around and be helped by other people. So that's one of the things I'm doing, and I got my haircut today. The other thing is, and I said this on an early part of this vlog, or early part of the day, there's a couple of things I want to talk about. There was a lady I was talking to earlier on who asked me a question on my day 12 video, which was, Mitch, have you got any thoughts on why I can't drop weight on anything less or anything more than 600 calories? And we sort of went backwards and forwards a little bit. I asked her a series of questions, things like, did you drop a lot of weight on a VLCD? Did you do the steps process? Did you reverse diet, etc., etc.? And sort of we came back and forth, and it was like yes, yes, yes to all of those things, until I said, "How long did your consultant put you on the next step for?" And the answer is interesting actually, because whoever, okay, if you do a VLCD and you in effect dumb your metabolism down to 800 calories, or in this lady's case 600 calories, and you're on that for a sustained period of time, like I said in one of my previous videos, your metabolism goes, well, I'm not needed here, you're in ketosis, I'm just going to go and chill out on a beach or whatever, and it just dumbs itself down. And if you're on that 600 calories for a sustained period of time, when it's time to go up, your metabolism is not ready for that. And even though she then went up to 800 calories, what happened, I believe, and if I'm wrong to the lady, I'm sorry. What happened, I believe, is it went up and her body went, no, I'm not doing it. And her metabolism said, well, I'm not getting off my sunbed in Marbella to come back and deal with that extra 200 calories. So I think probably what happened is she started to put on a little bit of weight, or at the very least plateau. But what I then think happened, which was quite crucial, is the consultant said, look, we've got to go up through the steps anyway. We have to go up through the steps. So keep going and we'll get you off the VLCD. What I would have done in that case is said, right, let's just stay on this. Let's stay on this 800 calories. And if you put on weight, don't panic, don't panic. We'll stay on this step until your metabolism gets off the fucking beach in Marbella, comes here and does its job, because it will. And I know this poor lady is pulling her hair out, and she's having lots of blood tests and this and the other. But that is what I would have at least tried, a sustained period, staying on that one higher step, but staying on that. I wouldn't have gone up to 1,000 and then 12 and then 15. I would have just stayed on that one until drop weight, whatever, on the 800 calories. And then, and what I'm going to say, then I'd go up to 1,000 probably, and your weight might have done this, which would have been unbelievably frustrating. But I think in this lady's case, she dropped like 6 stone, and 6 stone is a lot of weight. I know that, I dropped 11 stone, and I know people who've dropped more than that and whatever, but 6 stone is a lot of weight, and your body has to deal with that and learn to deal with that. So you probably would have been on sole source for a little while, and well done, by the way. It must be so frustrating for you, but like at that point, that's when your consultant needed to be a little bit more patient with it and just go, look, this is, but then I'm not sure that is taught to consultants. I went away and I studied this because I thought my metabolism was fucked right at the beginning. And I even remember saying to Lawrence in our first meeting, you're not going to be able to help me. I've got a fucked metabolism. As it turns out, when I was 23 stone, my metabolism was working pretty damn good, to be honest with you, because the sheer amount of calories I was eating, I should have been like 40 stone. But my metabolism was dealing with, so if I was cramming like six 6,500 calories in a day. Yes, I went up to 23 stone, but it was actually getting rid of 3,000-4,000 calories in a day, but I was just ramming 6.5. So there was going to be that difference, wasn't there? So, and if you remember me saying on one of the other vlogs, 3,500 calories equals 1 pound of fat. So if you eat 3,500 calories more than you burn, you're going to put on a pound. Now, I was probably eating 2,500 calories a day more than I was burning, but my metabolism was actually working very, very well. And it is like a muscle. If you don't use it, you lose it. And this is what I say to people when they first come. I go, right, listen, 2 choices. You can, if you want to be a 10 stone fella at 5'8" or 5'7", then eat like a 10 stone fella. And if you're 23 stone and you eat like a 10 stone fella, eventually you'll get there. And when you get there, the beauty of that is you don't have to change a thing. Or, because that word eventually scares people, as we've already discussed, or we go, right, we'll obliterate the fat. But when you get the other end, that's when you've got to be really patient. But we don't like to be patient when we're looking the bollocks. So I probably would have opted for patience. Now, that might not have meant that the lady would have gone with it, because it would have been infuriating for her. But this is what I would have encouraged. I would have sat her down and said, look, come up, like, this is what we need to do. We need to be really patient here. And I know it's a ball ache, but this is the way to go. And at least if we did that and it didn't work, then we'd have to look elsewhere. That building your metabolism again is like, I cannot tell you how important that is. The other thing I wanted to talk about was weight associations. I mentioned in my vlog earlier on about my goals for the end of my 6-week challenge, which we're 3 weeks into, and then there'll be another 6 weeks challenge. And overall, that 12 weeks, I have an amount of weight that I'd like to drop. Now, Lawrence always said you could drop 4 stone in 12 weeks. Now, I started this particular journey at 20 stone 11. Okay, so if I dropped down 4 stone, I'm going to be 16 stone 11. My aim is to be around the 16 stone 4 mark. Now, that's going to be pretty challenging. Like, if I do that, then wow. But there is a reason why I'm aiming at 16 stone 4. So if you don't know my story, when I was 23 stone, there was a reason I got to 23 stone. So I've been married a couple of times, and my first wife, when she left me, I mean, it all sounds bad, that, I'm 50 though. So it's not, and I was with my first wife from the age of 17 until I was 30, and she left. And when she left, I was 16 stone 4. So I wasn't at my biggest, but I was still a fairly chunky monkey. And I remember we went to Relate, which, if you don't know what that is marriage guidance. Which, don't do that. And I went, and there was this thing in it. And I said this in my Slimmer of the Year interview. There was this thing with this Relate counselor where they said, unless you're holding a pebble, you can't talk. I was like, give me the fucking pebble. I want to, And it was horrible because she had the pebble this day. She said 3 things I remember, and they were, he's the last person I look for when I walk in a room. I want to have kids, but I don't want to have them with him. And I want to go because he's fat and unattractive. So it was like, oh, wow. Like, I wasn't expecting that. Anyway, we came out. Ironically, we went our separate ways, split up, as you'd imagine. And I then put on another 5 stone, 6 stone. I went up to 23 from 16. And, which is bizarre, right? Because logically, you would think I'd get, Jesus Christ, I've just been done for being fat. And this is why, when I studied NLP, to work out what the hell was going on in my brain. And this is why I also know the reasons why my recent divorces happened and what happened around that. And I'll come back to the weight association. But so my first wife left, obviously, when I was 16 stone 4, said I was fat and unattractive. I then put on a load of weight and become 23 stone. Now, through my NLP training, my coach, Stephen Bates, who's a fantastic NLP practitioner. If you don't know him or you've not heard of him, go and find him. He's unbelievable and a good friend that I need to reconnect with. However, he always had this question that he kept asking me when we were talking about it, and he was like, well, what's your benefit of doing blah, blah, blah? What's the benefit? What's the benefit you self-sabotaging? What's the benefit you being angry? What's the benefit of, and you used to think, oh man, there is no benefit. So what was the benefit of me putting on that extra weight and becoming 23 stone? Now, I ask people this question, and if anyone's watching, you might well be shouting at the telly going, well, there isn't one, you fucking idiot. But there was 1,000,000% a benefit. And it was really simple, right? Because I don't want this vlog to go on for about 800 days, but it was as simple as this. I was fat and unattractive at 16 stone 4. That's what she said. So if I was 28 stone, I'd be more fat, wouldn't I? And more unattractive. So this is my belief. Okay. We all have a conscious brain. We all have this bit, which is like, I call it Spock because it's logical. It's the bit that goes, if I walk over there, grab the handle, push the door and lift the handle up, it will shut and stay shut. Although I know did the door, so why not? But logic suggests that that would be true. So we all have this logical part of our brain, which only works in logic. Then we have this bit, which is what I call the real you. That's the bit that knows all your hopes and dreams and everything else that goes with it. And it's the bit that will give you an answer. So I could ask you anything in the world I could ask you, and you'll immediately know what the answer is here. You will. You know what you want. You know all your hopes and dreams. But then this bit gets involved and goes, right, what is the right answer? What does he want me to say? What am I going to say that doesn't make me look stupid or embarrass me or make me upset or whatever it is? And we filter it and this other shit comes out. And it's not that it is a lie. It is just we learned to do this over the years in order to protect ourselves. So we have this logic part of our brain. We have the real you, what I call the real you. And then we have these other parts. Okay. Now, these other parts are the bits that do the old self sabotage or any sabotage for that matter. They're the bits that go, fuck it, drink the booze, fuck it, eat the sweets, eat the crisps, eat the chocolate, have the wine, bollocks, let's just bathe in it. What do you want to do with these parts of our brain that are in our ear? What do we want to do with them? I don't know whether you're screaming at the telly again, but I've had people say, get rid of them, fucking kill them, shut them up, turn them down, all these things, okay? Now, if you scream that at the telly, you're wrong. It's the worst thing you can do. Absolutely the worst thing you could do. And I'll tell you for why. Because they are trying to help. As my good friend Stephen used to say, what's the benefit of these? What's the benefit? What's the benefit of this lot saying to me at the time, fuck it, don't worry about your weight, go out, get pissed, do that, eat curry, fucking do it, don't worry about it. What was the benefit? What was the benefit of me putting on that extra weight? It's simple. If I'm fat and unattractive at 16 stone 4, then this says, okay, stay fat and unattractive. In fact, be more fat and more unattractive. Because then what will happen is we won't go out, we won't meet someone else, we won't fall in love again, they won't fuck off and leave you, and you'll not do what? You'll not get hurt again, will you? That really fucking did my head in when she left, broke my heart. And her saying those things just gave me a strategy to never be fucking hurt like that again. And then I met someone not long after we split up, and it was like she was polar opposites, my first wife. And it was like, okay, cool, that will be brilliant because you were really into your first wife. So, and that ended up being painful. So, what we want to do is we want to meet someone like this so that we're not that into them, so that when it goes wrong, it doesn't hurt as much. And I stayed in that for 8 years because of these, and just shutting them up, going, fuck off. That can't be right. That can't be right. Because what happens is you've got this logic part of your brain and you've got these parts of your brain, right? And they're having this row. You should do this. That's logical. Blah, blah, blah. Well, fuck you. I'm going to drink the drink and bollocks. Blah, blah, blah. And while these two are having a row, this one in the middle, the real you, is going, shut up, shut up. Listen, I'll go along with whichever one of you shouts the loudest, which is always this one. Why is it always this one? I'll tell you why it's always that one. Because this one's logical and it won't have this one's bullshit. It'll leave the conversation. So, for example, if this one says, bananas are blue, this one will go, now listen, logically, I can tell you that bananas are not blue. They start green, they ripen and go yellow, and they might go brown, but they're never blue. Don't care, bananas blue, la 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 la. Until this one goes, I'm not getting into this conversation, you're full of shit, I know what's what, and leave the conversation. And then when that leaves the conversation, this one's going, see, told you bananas are blue. And this part of you goes, okay. These parts were going, don't get her again. Don't go near anybody that looks like her, sounds like her, talks like her, behaves like her. Just don't go there. Like, in fact, just put this barrier of safety around you so you never get fucking hurt again. So that figure of 16 stone 4 was always that symbol of I am fat and unattractive. Anything under that, I'm not. Now, you might think, well, that would make you just go for getting under it, wouldn't you? Not if you're trying to protect yourself, or not if I'm trying to protect myself. And I can remember I had this chat with Lawrence, and when I was doing my weighing, because I only weighed 5 times, I went from 17 something down to 15 something in that month. And I got on the scales, I was like, and because what happened is when I went to see Lawrence, and this is where happy and sad associations come into it. When I went to see Lawrence, he said, right, what do you want to be? Show me, tell me. I got this photograph out. I went, I want to look like that, right? I want to be 14 and a half stone. And he went, why 14 and a half stone? So I showed him the picture. I went, look, this is me at 14 and a half stone. I look the bollocks. And he went, right. He said, what? He said, that's a well taken photo. It looks like, what was it? I said, it was a band shoot. We were just about to go on tour, and they did all these band photos, and that was one of my band photos. And he went, cool, how old are you? I said, I was 18. And he went, oh, good time? I was like, oh, the best man of my life. And he went, and you think by getting back to that, all that good shit's coming back, do you? Yeah, it's the truth. And I had a happy association with 14 stone 7. I also, ironically, just met my first wife that way. So I had a lot of happy associations with 14 stone 7. But like I say, I missed 16.4. And he was like, what's the matter? You said you missed it, haven't you? I was like, yeah. He said, just keep going. And then I went from 15 something to 13 something in 1 month. And I missed that. And he went, are you touring around the world with your band? Have you met someone new? Have all those things come back to you now you've gone past that weight? Nope. Are we done? Nope. But there was happy associations. I didn't want to go near 16.4. So, and the easiest way of not going near 16.4 is actually being 20. Because when I get near 16.4, horrible things happen. When I'm 20 plus stone, nobody looks at me anyway. But if I'm 16 stone, I'm too close to it. So instead of going there and past, I went, fucking stay over here, so you don't go near it. When I get to 14.7, I start getting a little bit cocky. It all fucks with your head. My marriage now, it was over, okay? And we came out of lockdown, and I was miserable. It's a bit unfair on my ex, but I was miserable, and I couldn't get out. I couldn't get to it about it. And I went and played at a festival, and I felt like shit. And I went to play at this festival, but in the morning I was having a shower, and it was the first gig we were doing after COVID. And I got out of the shower, and for whatever reason, I stood on the scales, and I was 16 stone 4. I was like, I knew I felt like shit. And I went to that festival feeling like shit. Went and did the gig. It was actually a really good gig. I stood in the crowd afterwards, watching some of the other bands. Toya Wilcox was on, and I made a joke, and this girl turned around and laughed, and she came over and started chatting to me. And she was a very, very attractive young lady. She just was lovely to me. And I was like, why are you talking to me? I'm fat and unattractive. And she was like, what? I said, oh, nothing. She went, no, I heard what you said. She said, I don't think you have a clue how attractive you are. And nothing happened. I went home, and me and my wife split up because I felt really shit, because I enjoyed that conversation more than I should have done. I should have walked off, and I should have said thank you very much and left. But I was feeling really shit. And then she turned it on its head by going, actually, you are really attractive, which threw everything of that I thought about 16 stone 4 out the water. And I was like, fuck. But looking back on it, 16 stone 4 ended my second marriage too. So I know I'm going to have a real brain fart when I get near it, because it's going to be like, oh, fuck. Now I'm with someone now who I adore. So, and she's known me this size. That's it. But when I get to around the 16.4 mark, I'm going to have to like, hang on a minute, I need to fucking hold on so my head don't have a wobble. So it's as simple as this, right? And your brain does this. It goes 16 stone 4 equals fucking danger. 20 stone means you don't get hurt, but you don't get involved. 14 and a half stone equals cocky twat. 12 stone 10 means winner. One slimmer of the year, 12 stone 10. Which people go, actually, that's quite high in weight for a 5'7" dude. And yeah, kind of is. Sorry, I put my glasses on to sort my camera out. But like, for example, when I was 11 stone, I looked like, I don't know, refugee. I carry weight quite well, ironically. So actually 12 stone 10 is, looking at me wise, is probably about as low as I'd want to go. But it's strange how these, because I feel, like I said, 12 stone 10 means winner, and they're all anchors as well as happy and sad associations. They're anchors of this means this means that, and you lock in a memory and a feeling to a weight. So it's something kinesthetic with something visual. You lock in this feeling of what it means to a figure. It might be that you lock in a feeling to a place, a feeling to a t-shirt, a feeling to a haircut, whatever it might be. A song, that's a big one for people, isn't it? We all have a soundtrack to our lives. And those of us who are foodies and struggle with weight do it a lot with numbers on scales, which is what I try to tell people to avoid them. However, it's not just me. I once had a girl come and see me, and she was size 18, and I said, let's go to a size 10. And she was like, no, 11 stone's fine. And I was like, okay, what's that? She said, no, it's just I'll be happy with 11 stone. I said, I remember you when you were a size 10. And she said, yeah, yeah, no. I said, didn't you used to be a firewoman? And she was like, yeah, I was in the brigade for years. I said, like, you're now like a beauty therapist? That's very different, Did you not like the fire brigade? And she said, yeah, I loved it. My life. I was like, oh, what happened? She said, oh, it ended up in like me having to go to a tribunal, and I was sort of forced to leave. It was a bit of a nightmare. And I said, why? What was all that about? He was like, don't mind me asking. She said, no, don't mind me asking. She said, I got death threats and a load of shit from the wives of the guys I work with because I was shagging them all. I was like, oh, what? And she went, no, I wasn't. It's just that is what the perception was because I was a young woman in the brigade, and I must have been. She said, but I wasn't. And she said, and I'll tell you this now. She said, the day of the tribunal, I was in the shower and I was crying, and I thought, this is my life. It's about to disappear. And I know that feeling because when, I nearly had the dream of being a paramedic taken away because I had points on my license. Um, Everything I'd worked for was slipping away, and I thought, oh, yeah, I can really resonate with you now. At the time, obviously, I just knew she was sad. But she said, I don't know what it was, but I got out of the shower, and she said, I never do this. I got on the scales, and I was 10 stone, and I never want that shit again in my life. And I went, right. I said, why don't we go to 9'7" then? Because a size 10 was 10 stone to her. I said, why don't we go to 9'7"? She was like, what? And we had to break the ingrained feeling within her that 10 stone meant death threats, hate mail, losing a job that you love. And loss is an interesting one. I'm going to do a separate vlog about loss because I'm an NLP practitioner. So, for those who don't know what that is, it stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming. The L part, linguistic, our language we use outwardly, but more importantly, the stuff we say inwardly to ourselves is very important. I hate the term weight loss, and I'll tell you why in my blog. But anyway, happy, sad associations, they're very important. And they're important that you know them, because if you have them and subconsciously it's going to throw you off in some way, to know them and bring them to the front of your actual conscience so that you can go logically think, right, how am I going to negotiate around this is vital. Anyway, this vlog's gone on way, way too long. I hope that I answered the question of the lady I was talking to, and that it's been useful. If you like the channel, please can you go and smash the like button, hit subscribe, get the notification bell on so you don't miss any of the content, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 16.